I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Meet RX Success Story podcast. Today we have Maykell with us, and he's going to share his story. Hi, Maykell.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, what was going on in your life prior to starting a meat-based carnivore-style diet? Were you having any health issues, or what was the reasoning behind changing your diet lifestyle?
I can't say that I had like health issues in the sense of most people would have health issues. All my life, I've been trying to gain size or muscle mass. So I've always been like skinny fat. And I've tried I eat a lot now and I eat a lot then. So I eat like 6,000 to 10,000 calories of carb, of everything imaginable, every way that they've always said that you're supposed to try to eat to gain size. I never really gained size or gained what you call, let's say, body recompositioning, where you actually look more muscular than just gaining fat. So I was always like trying to gain size, but mainly just got skinny fat. It would never really turn out to that you're getting bigger as far as muscle mass. So then I got really lucky because I got hurt while working out. And while during the period of taking a month off, I saw the X3 bar commercial. Right. And then I saw that, and I had always been a good, let's say, power lifter. My power to weight ratio was extreme because I was maybe only 150 pounds and I deadlifted 505 pounds, but it never actually transferred to getting any bigger. It was like I was able to lift, but I wasn't able to gain size, even though I was eating these huge amounts. So by reading up on the X3, and then I saw that he only ate meat or he only ate steak. John Jackwish only eats steak, right? So I figured, let me try this. But first I started out by doing keto. I transitioned from regular diet to doing keto, and I went straight into it by doing a 2-day fast. As soon as I did the 2-day fast, I turned into a lobster because I got the keto rash. I was like, it was like red all over for like a month and a half. It was like, I thought that I was allergic to something. And then I started reading, I said, oh, that's just a keto rash. Okay, perfectly fine. So I started with keto first, and slowly started transitioning to just steak, because I kept on reading that how he only ate steak and 3 pounds of steak. And I noticed that whenever I tried to get the 20 something grams of carbs, the carbs regardless always bloat me, always give you gases, always give you some kind of issue with your stomach. And just eating the steak and the eggs, man, it was nothing to me. So I slowly transitioned from eating 2 pounds to 3 pounds. Sometimes now I eat 5 to 7 pounds of steak. And maybe like today I had like 3.5 pounds and like 6 eggs. And now for the past like year and a half, I mainly only eat raw steak. Most of the time, 95% of the time I eat raw steak, basically. In fact, I played in a punk band called the Problematics. And when we were on tour, it was the funniest thing because I would have a cooler with frozen steak. I would grab my steaks and throw them on the dashboard in a bag and basically let the sun thaw them, and then I would eat it like that. And what's funny, if you consider it, these guys all were stopping to buy at McDonald's, buy here, buy everywhere, every junk that you could find. And they always had issues. Every day they would have stomach pain. They would all have the guy that was eating raw steak thrown on a dashboard without cooking it had no issues for the whole 2 weeks. These guys every day were vomiting. Every single day they were sick of something. And the guy that was eating like something that, hey, don't eat that, you're gonna get sick, he was perfectly fine. It's just the way it goes. What I like about it is the simplicity. And with it, it also helps that when you travel, let's say now when I travel with my wife or go somewhere outside that requires, I could spend 2 or 3 days without eating, I have no problem because I'm fat adapted. The issue of not having to, I don't have a constant need for food, and I work out every day extremely hard, and it's that ability to have energy or not to have to eat, to fast all day and have energy constant. It's just wonderful. It's completely different than the way I was before, where I was eating. If I ate 6,000 calories a day to gain size, I was constantly feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm full, I'm bloated, I'm full, I'm hurt. Oh, I have a stomach ache because I'm eating so much of this junk that just gives you more bloat and more whatever. And it never changed my body composition compared to this. The composition was like drastic there's such a difference from when I started to now that it's just drastic in comparison.
That's awesome. You basically said what you eat, but could you just go over like a typical day, like maybe even the amounts and what types of steak?
That's the amount. Let's say I
Wow.
sometimes have up to 5 plates. I like to eat T-bone a lot, ribeyes. I'm very lucky. Anywhere I go, I find cheap steak. People say, "Hey, how could you afford to eat this way?" Whatever. You know what? I've been buying recently a lot of specials that are at $2 a pound. London broil or top round. I just show up and I have a butcher that's great that he even calls me. Listen, I'm getting a special in. Come over, and he sells me the whole thing as packed, right? And then he'll open it completely up, a sealed. The whole. They come in like huge pieces that maybe weigh 20 pounds, and then he opens it up and he cuts it for me into steak size. I don't. The last thing I tell him is take off the fat. No, I tell him leave everything. I don't want you see people and give me the fat that somebody else threw away. Don't worry about that because I love to eat suet raw. Beef suet raw is awesome. So what I do is I buy a lot of steak in special, and I have a freezer in my garage, and I buy it at $2 or $3 a pound. So think about it. You could am I eating 3 pounds of steak a day for under $9, or sometimes even last week I was eating it for $6 because it was only $2 a pound. So for $6, you're getting what, around 300 grams of protein in comparison to where could you eat this way and actually get that much nutrient, that much, that density of nutrition for the value is, I don't understand how people say you can't afford this. No, this is much more affordable than all the other junk. If you consider buying a tomato costs you so much money and you get nothing out of it. So might as well, save your money and buy a steak. And if you really consider it, now I'm doing a lot of what Jack Wish says, which is I really do a lot of fasting where I eat every 48 hours. Okay, so if you don't eat one day and you eat every 48 hours and you eat 3 pounds, are you really spending a lot of money? Because now you're eating 1.5 pounds a day in reality, because if you spread it out and you're feeling awesome and you're feeling great and you don't have these lows of energy. And I buy eggs for $1 a dozen. How much cheaper can you get for the amount? Look, even if you're traveling around, let's say you don't want to take your steak with you. If you're traveling around, and I wouldn't recommend eating this every day, but if you're traveling around and you're hungry, dude, you can stop at a Walmart, get yourself a rotisserie chicken for $4.50, and they sell a pack of eggs already boiled for $1.50. So you're talking about like $6.50 for a complete chicken and some 6 boiled eggs, and you spend maybe $6. Well, that's a lot better than McDonald's. That's a lot better than anything. People make it seem harder or more expensive than it has to be, because it really doesn't have to be. If you really consider it, and considering that I eat every other day now, I don't see how you could really afford to do it and you just feel better. As you're less sick. I can't remember the last time I just don't get sick the same way. I used to have extreme sinus, I just don't have that kind of issue anymore.
That's awesome. So how long have you been carnivore?
Now like 2 years.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So, after doing all of this, let's talk about some of the benefits. Now, I'm assuming you talked about how your body composition has changed now. You're able to put on some muscle and etc. What else? What else has changed? And was there anything that kind of shocked you?
Well, besides that you could eat this way and really not, I figured in the beginning I was scared that you're going to get scurvy and all that. And then I started reading up on it, and I see that, first of all, as long as obviously, if you're doing this, but you're still eating carbs, you better then watch out, because eating the carb is going to block your absorption of certain things. I avoid the carbs at all costs. So I'm not touching that. Shocked me. It has helped me sleep better at night. Understand, because carbs seem to get me, like, I have like panic attacks and all that, and not having the carbs takes that away.
Awesome.
A lot of different things that are just easier. You have better focus. You simply feel better. You never have a low, or like I do videos where I've eaten 7 pounds and people ask me, but you have to feel, I feel nothing. I could eat the 7 pounds and I raise my shirt and you still have a 6-pack, and you're like, dude, if you ate 1 pound of beans, you already be dying with pain. Yeah, you're right. It just doesn't do that effect. It has nothing. Anything, just go for a walk for 5 seconds and you're done. You're perfectly fine.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, Maykell, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I think people find, these kind of things very, very helpful to hear. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
And you have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.